Welcome back everybody to Cuboid Aquatics. This is
Harvey.
And I'm Amber, and we're so excited to bring more content to you guys as we venture into aquascaping, fish and shrimp hobbying. So to get us started, today's episode is going to be focused on simplifying filtration. Filtration has always been a challenge for many people. There's just so many different types, and so we're going to learn a little bit about that today. So to kind of start off, Harvey, can you tell us a little bit about why filtration is so important for the aquarium?
Amber, filtration is so important because this is like the lifeblood or the heart of how successful that you can be with keeping tropical fish. The filter does multiple functions on water clarity, water quality, and it's extremely important that you get the right type of filter for the type of size aquarium that you might have, the type of fish you're going to have, so that you don't either over filter or even under filter, and you get that desired result that you're looking for.
Excellent. And I'm going to throw a little popcorn question out there.
Be careful.
I know, right? So what do you think the number one mistake that customers do with their aquariums when it comes to filtration?
Great question. I usually find that most people from a filtration standpoint either don't size their filter correctly, number one. Number two, they don't maintain the filter correctly. And a big part of that is how you take certain filter medias, for example, like foam and sponges. And when you're cleaning those, many times people do that under the faucet in really hot water. And we know that we need this good beneficial bacteria to balance the aquarium. And many times that tends to be very diminished when people don't maintain it correctly.
And what's some of the effects when they don't maintain it? What are some of the negative effects?
So you could start to see cloudy water. Worse is where you start to have your levels. The two important ones that people really focus on are ammonia and nitrite, two that have to be kept at low, almost zero levels to be successful. These are some of the conditions that start going out of balance. And with that, now you start having issues with loss of life, and as I mentioned, cloudy water, and it's a lot harder to bring that back to where we need to have it when you haven't maintained your filter correctly.
So it's interesting, I keep hearing you say maintain the filter. So can you kind of tell me a little bit more about the maintenance of filtration and how we can really maintain that optimal peak performance that we want out of our filtration systems?
Correct. So with the filters, they all will have certain types of either foam pads or different types of medias that need to be addressed. So for example, if you have a foam pad that has to be cleaned, and some of it's every couple weeks, maybe it'll go as long as a month, but when you have that pad and it's growing beneficial bacteria, it's also mechanically trapping dirt in there. We want to remove that dirt, but we also want to keep alive that beneficial bacteria. What we don't do with that is take it to the faucet and rinse it out under the hottest water that you can bear, as opposed to keeping it with some aquarium water that you remove from the tank and giving it a cleaning with that water, so that everything biologically stays better in balance and we don't ruin that beneficial bacteria that's really key for a healthy filter.
And I bet there's a lot of us out there that make those common mistakes, and I'm certainly guilty of one of those. Alright, so before we kind of jump into all the different products, one, tell us about the company that we're going to be showcasing today with the filtration, and two, I'm looking at all these products and I kind of just wonder, like, where do we start? There's so many different choices.
Amber, you're right, there are a lot of choices. We've focused today on the Awasa product line, and the reason I like Awasa, I really feel from a manufacturing standpoint, they build high quality products. They offer great warranties, like their products are all warranted for 3 years. They're all UL listed, the electrical components, so you don't have any worry about what's being used from the safety standpoint. And their efficacy and the form to function is as good as I've ever seen it. We're going to take you through an idea of like a good, better, best idea for your different aquariums. And I think as you kind of see them broken down, you'll see the one that's going to fit really well for your application.
Excellent. All right, so let's dive in.
Right now we're going to talk about a very, very good filter, and one that's been in the hobby for so many years. For those that are breeding fish, quarantine tanks that are set up, everybody knows about the sponge filter. Again, it has been around for ages and ages, and it still functions really, really well. Its main feature would be to mechanically trap dirt into the sponge so we get good water clarity from it. More importantly for me is all the beneficial bacteria that grows in this foam sponge that you see here. So with that, again, we want to make sure that we can grow a good population level, so the maintenance of this gets very important. To power the sponge filter, and they come in many different sizes, so you can do them from a small little 1 or 2 gallon tank all the way up to 75, 90 gallon tanks, because the foam just gets larger. It will be powered by an air pump. So the reason I show you this is because Awaza makes the quietest air pump on the market. I believe just 37 decibels. So there's nothing worse than getting a nice filter and you have an air pump that's making a lot of noise. It'll drive you absolutely crazy. You won't have that issue with the Awaza air pump, and you have the benefit that you can control the flow of the air that's right there. Now, in order to have the air pump, which is outside the aquarium, and then we're going to have an airline tubing, which is going to connect this with our filter that's inside the aquarium. This is how this is connected. And we also like to mention a little check valve, which is just a small valve that we put right towards the top of the aquarium. In the event of any loss of power, we don't want any recycling going down into the pump from the aquarium itself. Maintaining the sponge filter, highly recommend that when you maintain this, is that water would come out of the aquarium into, say, a 5 gallon bucket, and we're going to squeeze the dirt out of this filter. Now, you don't have to get crazy with it. I mean, you can squeeze it, you'll see it come out, and squeeze it a little bit more, but don't get crazy where you feel you have to get it so unbelievably clean. These types of filters actually work better. The dirtier they get, the more dirt that it's going to trap. So anytime that we're going to clean the filter, we also want to add a biological inoculant. I like the microlift product called Night Out, because it's a starter bacteria, but it's going to introduce a lot more beneficial bacteria to kind of reestablish the filter system again to its original level. This just makes everything in the aquarium so much healthier when you do that. Good. The next filter we want to talk about is an internal filter. So, like the sponge filters, I would classify them as a good filter. A lot of people like them because now we've eliminated a lot of that noise that you might be getting from an air pump as it's connected to your sponge filter. So the cool thing with an internal filter is very low profile. I have in my hand the BioCompact 50 by Awaza. So the nice thing that I like about it, it can go back into the corner. It has a little nozzle right here where the water comes out that you can slow it down, speed it up. And from a filtration standpoint, we get the benefit now of having a sponge filter that's in here, and now we add mechanical filtration, which is the sponge, and then biological filtration, we'll have the sponge, and then chemical filtration, there's carbon that goes into this little area right here. So that's going to give you better water clarity. It's going to take out any smell and so forth. And it's like a double filtration here because we also have another sponge that's going to stop a lot of that dirt and debris that's coming into the filter. So I like these internal ones because of, again, lack of noise. You get additional filtration with it because you pick up the carbon that's in there. And then they come in different sizes. This is a really cool one because the water can come out the nozzle that you see here, also can come out the spray bar, so you're getting a lot more dissolved oxygen. What's really cool with this one too is it has a heater that you can add to the back of it right here. So now not only do you get filtration, but you can now centrally heat your water right through your filter. Great little feature, I love. Once this is in place, the cool thing about cleaning it is, and we talked about that importance of cleaning it, we can remove this really nicely, and now this will stay right inside the tank, so we don't have to worry about that. But now, in order to clean it, we can take this out and do the cleaning outside the tank. It does have a nice little carbon block that's right here in the very top of it here. And then in the lower section here, we have, when we remove this, we have a great foam block there that's mechanically trapping dirt and also giving us all that great biological filtration that we need to keep our aquarium in balance. So again, a good filter, very, very quiet. They come in different sizes. And again, I would be using these probably up into the 30, could be done even up to a 55 gallon, but great for the small tanks. So if you're doing one of those smaller little nano tanks, look into a nice Awasa internal filter. All right, the next filter we want to talk about are the famous hang-on-the-back filters, extremely popular in America. We find a lot of hobbyists like hang-on-the-back filters. Awasa is a really kind of a new entry into the hang-on-the-back filter because they've always had internals. They have canisters, which we'll talk about, but I really like what they've done here with their hang-on-the-back bio-style filters. So they're available in 3 sizes, 20, 30, and 55. The 2 bigger sizes, the 30 and the 55 model, you can get them with heaters that are inside the filters. We've talked about some of the advantages with heating the water centrally through your filter. But what I really like about this particular model is they have a telescopic tube that they have, which is going to take the water from the aquarium into the filter that's hanging on the back of the aquarium, like you see here. So that's a really nice, and it's clear, so it's going to be easy to clean. In order to get the filter properly spaced away from the aquarium, we have these little risers right here that come out of the filter to give you the right distance away from the aquarium. Now, as any good hang-on-the-back filter has, we have cartridges inside the filter. What's cool what Awasa did with this one is they have 2 different types, and this is really, it was a great idea on their part. So the very first cartridge that the water is passing through is one you can see here that has blue foam on the back, so we're getting a lot of good mechanical filtration, trapping dirt. It's going to go through a carbon mix that's inside the cartridge here, and then comes out the other side through these white pad that you see here, giving you even better clarity of water. And then before it goes back into the aquarium, we have a biological piece of foam here, where this one, you're never going to throw that away. This is what we want to have in the aquarium, in the filters, so that you're able to grow loads of beneficial bacteria. We know the advantage of that, keeping ammonia and nitrite really at 0 levels. So great idea here with what Awasa has put together. And they have the replaceable cartridges in a 2 to 4 pack. There's also, if you want to have just a carbon insert by itself, maybe you've just run medication and we want to pull some extra medication out of the aquarium, you can do that. Algae issues, they have a phosphate remover, which phosphate is one of the issues that usually raises its ugly head when we have algae. And then we have one that you can also do with, you can put whatever you want in it. So the hang-on-the-back filter, again, simple, it hangs on the back, you fill it with water, you go ahead and plug it in, 30 seconds or less it starts. You can adjust the top of the U-tube there so you can get any flow rate that you want, and you have them available in 3 different sizes. Now the next filter we want to introduce to you is the canister filter. What's so interesting with the canister filter, we classify it as the best of the filters. It will be positioned underneath of the aquarium. You'll have flexible tubing that connects here to the top of the filter up to the top of the aquarium. And with that now we have so many layers of filtration in here, so much more than what you get either in internal filters, sponge filters, or the really nice hang-on-the-back filters. So I want to take you through some of the features of the BioMaster by Awasa. One is you can, like so many of the other Awasa filters, you can centrally heat this if you want. So it's available both in a thermo version or a non-thermo version. If you would get the non-thermo version and down the road you want to add the heater, you can add the Awasa heater to the filter. Real easy. What I really like about it is, because anybody that's worked with a canister filter, they can be a bit of a pain at times when you want to take it all apart, take it to the sink, do the cleaning and so forth. But one of the great things that Awasa has done is added a pre-filter. That's this little part right here, which in this particular model has 4 different rings, which you can do the carbon ring, which comes with the filter that you see here. You can also get 2 different sizes of bigger foams if you want more water to pass through the pre-filter. But when you're keeping this pre-filter clean, anywhere from every week to every 2 weeks, when it's so easy to do, now you don't have to get into the main part of the filter for sometimes 4 weeks, 6 weeks, sometimes longer, depending on how many fish that you have in the tank and the size aquarium. Canister filters tend to be the most popular for aquariums as they get larger. So when you start getting into aquariums that are 20 to 30 gallons and larger, the canister filter has so much filter capacity that it makes a very, very useful filter for aquariums that are larger, have larger livestock. They really work that much better. Now, as we talked about the interest in the canister filter, I want to show you the inside of this. And the cool thing that Awaz has done, it's really almost impossible to have this leak on you. And I can tell you some filters, canister filters, do have that issue. Let's get all these, one more. And we'll pull this up. I'll just need it a little bit. Okay, so what I want to show you about the internals here, and this will resonate with you on why these are so effective, is here's a smaller filter that would be rated up to, say, a 30-gallon aquarium. And what we have in the 4 stages is we have the water coming in through the top, getting purified with this mechanical filtration that's right here. Just larger foam. We're going to be able to stop a lot of debris before it goes into the finer pieces of foam. Then we also have a second stage of this large piece of blue foam that you see here, also mechanically and biologically working very effectively. Here we also have another layer of foam. And then finally, the biomedia, which is at the very bottom of the filter. So as the water now should be the cleanest before it gets to the biomedia right here, that is where we're going to grow so much beneficial bacteria, which will also grow on our different pieces of foam. This, you will never ever throw it away. When we clean it just with aquarium water. But the amount of filter capacity that comes with your canisters, it's what gives you that pristine water that everybody wants and that high quality of water that you get with a canister filter. So 4 sizes are available, both in the thermo version and in the non-thermo version. It's a terrific filter. You should check it out.
Starting over 2. All right, everybody, now that we've demystified filtration in the aquarium, there's so many different options, Harvey, but one of the biggest challenges for many of our customers out there is budget. We're not all on the same budget. Can you kind of talk me a little bit through the options with the budget?
Correct. Good question, Amber. To invest into a piece of equipment into your aquarium, this is where money should be well spent, because as you move up from, say, good to better, perhaps to best, this is where you're going to get the best results. So your least expensive filters, where you're into, say, the sponge filters we talked about, you're going to be spending anywhere from $10 to maybe $20 for a sponge filter. Internal filters without the heater in them are in the $40 to $60 range. Add a heater and you're going to add another $30 or so to it. Then as you get into your hang on the back filters, depending on the size, you could be at $40 up to $60. You're going to go beyond that, obviously, if you add the heater. When you start into the canister filters, you're going to be an investment on the north side of $200. As you add the heater, that's going to increase the price a little bit, but you'll also get the best bang for the buck and the least maintenance when you get into the better grades of filters. And your water clarity and quality will be so much better than they are with the less expensive filters.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that information. I don't know about all you, but this has been very informative and educational for me as a shrimp hobbyist, but also hoping that each of you are gaining lots of knowledge from these amazing little clips that we're putting together. But before you go, I'm going to take you guys to the fish room and we're going to check out the most amazing, beautiful zebra pleco.
The L46 zebra pleco, it's a terrific fish. I hope everybody in their aquarium keeping years gets the opportunity to own one of these, because they really, really are spectacular. Great story around them, just because they were a fish that was coming out of Brazil for many years. That got stopped, and now it all has to be captive bred stock that we get, so they're not as available as some of the less expensive plecos that we get, but really this is the crown jewel if you do love plecos.
Yeah, perfect. So tune in, see our zebra pleco, and more importantly, don't forget to check back with us on Fridays at 6 p.m. We'll be launching new episodes each week, and can't wait to continue to partner with each of you to kind of help expand our knowledge around aquascaping, fish and shrimp hobbying. And thank you so much for all your support, everybody. Take care.
See you next time.
Sought after fish by many different hobbyists. They get to be about 4 inches in length. They're very shy, so they like to hide, and they eat a meatier diet like bloodworms. So if you're a shrimp hobbyist, I caution you because they might eat your little shrimp. We hope you enjoyed this short clip, and we'll see you next Friday at 6. Bye everyone.